I don't know. That's just too confusing. If one day you want to have an open conversation about it, I guess we'll have it, but I'm not going to sit here and argue the difference between crowdfunding free content because you like it and you want to see it to continue versus someone who is literally creating content to sell you something so that they can pay or so they can make money to line their pockets. Do you understand the difference? It's very different.
Starting off this video strong with me agreeing with DSP. I agree, DSP, it is very different. Unfortunately for DSP though, I don't think that he understands that he falls into the latter category of the two. But instead of trying to sell his audience some product that a company paid him to try and sell, he's instead just selling his own shitty product, which is his streams. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that there's anything wrong with trying to broaden your audience and reach new people and have new people watch your content. I think that should be the goal for every content creator. But that's not what DSP does. DSP very specifically sells his streams like a used car salesman in the scummiest way possible, trying to con you into giving them money for what they know is a bad product. A product that they know isn't worth your money or your time, but they're trying to sell it to you anyway because that's what puts money in their pockets.
It is. It's just very different. Listen, if you want to be advertised to, you can go to TV, or you can go to any of the shows on the internet. I mean, even the things you pay for, like Netflix, Amazon Video, they're all got ads now. All of them. It's all ads everywhere, right? You can go watch as many advertisements as you like. I would think that it would be refreshing that there's someone who makes content for you that doesn't want you to be advertised to all day. No? No? I would think so, right?
And I have to agree with DSP again. It would be really nice if you could go somewhere and watch content you weren't being advertised to, and there are plenty of places where you can do that. But unfortunately for DSP, his streams are not that place. Because while he doesn't have specific sponsorships or ad reads that he has to do, he does run the general automatic YouTube ads that every content creator that has a YouTube channel gets. And those are basically the equivalent of commercials. So he can sit here and dog about going to television and being advertised to, or going on Netflix and being advertised to, but he's actually just running the equivalent to a commercial. I don't know if his gin brain is just forgetting it at this specific point, or if he's leaving it out specifically to be malicious and misrepresent what the truth is. I would again have to say that it falls into the latter category though, because he's always run ads on his YouTube videos as much as possible. Any video that can be monetized, he does monetize. So he's not better than anybody else. He just doesn't get paid as much as other people do because he's not specifically advertising for a company, which is just silly.
You know, it's a necessary evil to have ads on content. If I could have no ads on anything, no ads on the streams, no ads on my videos, of course I would do that. I don't have enough, viewership to do that. You know, I just don't. I need to have some of that. It is supplemental. You know, if I could turn it off, I would. I don't like ads, just like you.
Wow, who knew that DSP was such a cool guy? That if he had an undetermined, mysterious amount of viewers that he will never disclose, that he would turn off the ads. Strange that he didn't give a specific figure that we could shoot for to turn off those pesky ads. But of course, DSP is just like us. Because obviously all of us stay home 6 days a week and stream video games for a living, and we totally don't have to go to an actual job to work for our money. He's just like us.
You know, but if I can avoid being a shill and pushing crap down your throat that, you don't care about, I will. It's sad, you go to watch something, like, for example, I sometimes try to drop in and watch content creators who previously I used to watch, okay? So, for example, every once in a while, I'll watch The Angry Video Game Nerd, or every once in a while, I'll watch The Nostalgia Critic.
Nice name drops, DSP, because I'm sure that you would love if anybody brought you up in the same exact manner that you're about to bring up these two. I wonder why he feels comfortable name dropping AVGN and the Nostalgia Critic, but he wasn't comfortable name dropping the streamers that he was watching not that long ago that he swore his content was better than. And I know I bring that up all the time, but I really think it's important to remember that and just think about the inconsistencies in the way that DSP talks about other people.
Just to see how they're doing. I don't watch all of their stuff. I'll just pop in and say, what's the newest episode or whatever. I actually heard the Angry Video Game Nerd had done a really good episode for this Halloween. It was a return to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which was like one of his first, if not his first review ever, a million years ago. So, I go to watch it, and what I notice is immediately there's product placements. Oh, this is brought to you by NordVPN. Oh, this is brought to you by DoorDash. This is brought to you by this meal subscription service. This is brought to you by some cryptocurrency. This is brought to you by blah, blah, blah. And you watch it and you're like, you know that these guys don't use this stuff. This is not like a testimonial. This is not like, oh, this is good stuff that they stand by, right? And they believe in. This is just, I'm going to take payment to shill a product that I don't care about and never will use, but it's just something that I want to push for money.
How do you know that that's the case, DSP? Because all of the examples that you gave sound like reasonable products that somebody might actually use and therefore took the sponsorship on specifically because they use it. It's not absurd to think that a YouTube content creator uses a VPN service, and Nord is a very popular VPN service. It's not out of the realm of reality that a YouTube content creator is invested in a cryptocurrency and therefore is sponsored by a cryptocurrency or a crypto wallet or whatever it is. And you of all people should understand that DoorDash is a service that people in fact use. If there were any sponsorships that you should be looking into, it's DoorDash. I couldn't imagine the amount of money that you would save if you could get a DoorDash sponsorship and get a percentage off of every single one of your orders. Or at least get your Dash Pass for free or whatever. But of course, everybody but DSP is just out to make money. They're there to line their own pockets. They don't care about their audience. They don't care about the quality of their content. They don't care about anything except getting that money. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories.
And it's intrusive to the video. It's incredibly annoying, right?
No more intrusive and annoying than your begging segments, except they don't look nearly as pathetic. So I would say it's a net positive on their end. Now
listen, these guys have much bigger viewership than me, even to this day. They have way more viewers, way more attention on their content than I do, right? So when they do those ads, they got eyes on them. So they probably make a pretty big paycheck just for pumping out that product placement or whatever it is, right? They probably make a pretty penny doing it. So by doing that, they don't have to have pressure on them about how the performance is on a particular video or whatever, because they got paid just for making it, right? But the quality and the feeling of it being genuine is completely left at the door when it's a shilled product placement. I'm sorry, it just is. For me, anyway, that's my personal feeling.
And I can totally understand how it can come across like that, DSP, but I think you're missing a vital aspect of the very thing that you said. By doing a paid sponsorship, by doing some sort of ad read during the video, they don't have to worry about how well the video is actually going to do, which allows them to create the content that they actually want to create because they're already paid for it. That's what allows them to make the content that feels genuine. That's what allows them to make what they really want to make. So while it might come across as disingenuous when they do the ad reads, you have to understand that after the ad reads, they are finally getting to make the content that they want to make. And they're getting to make the content how they want to make it given the new budget that they have after doing the ad read. And if ad reads really bother somebody so much, then they can go out of their way to get an ad blocker or go find sponsor block and just remove it themselves. It's really not that complicated or difficult.
It's like when I watch that, I'm like, I hate this video now. Like, even if the video is good and the content is good and it's funny, the fact that you had to watch this fake product placement. There's enough fake shit on earth. We don't need to have people who used to be genuine on the internet doing this for passion and for fun to now, I made a video today to push NordVPN. Oh, by the way, there's also something in that video you might enjoy, but please get NordVPN, you know? I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
But that's just such a petty mentality to have, that you can't enjoy something just because it had an ad in it. Do you not enjoy going to the movies just because there's a commercial before it starts? Who am I kidding? It's DSP. Of course he doesn't enjoy going to the movies. He only leaves his house once a week. But regardless of that example, DSP, you are watching this content for free. And you of all people should understand what video content creators go through online and how difficult it is for them to make money and do it as a full-time job. And it's completely disrespectful to insinuate that these content creators are only putting out videos so that they can push sponsorships. There's definitely content creators that do that, but if you enjoyed the video, then I don't think that that's the case. DSP always portrays himself as Mr. Small Business, Mr. Little Guy, until the very second that a small business or a little content creator is trying to actually make some money for themselves doing the thing that they like to do. As soon as that's the case, you better just shut up and take your pittance that YouTube is willing to give you for their general ad revenue. And yes, I know the people that he listed specifically aren't small content creators, they are rather large, but that he is just talking about content creators in general at this point, even though he did specifically list those two.
So, yeah, that's just my feeling, and that's my opinion, and that's my philosophy, and it works. It has worked, and it continues to work, okay?
Yes, it's been working all the way up until you miss 1 week's worth of content, and then all of a sudden you're never going to financially recover from this a la Joe Exotic. And it's always strange that he acts like he's better than other people because he would rather take the money directly from his fans' pockets instead of a multi-million-dollar corporation. The opposite of a Robin Hood. He takes the money from his dents and gives it directly to Scopely.
So, you know, if you disagree with that and you think, oh, that's just part of the business, they're making the bag or taking the bag or whatever, that's your prerogative to say that or to judge it like that. I see it completely differently. I've been making content for free for 15 years. Why am I now going to start shilling products to make ends meet? It doesn't even make sense, right? It doesn't. And just to remind you guys, last month I went into a partnership with Loot Crate, where if you guys are watching this video, guys or gals,
and you're thinking, oh man, this Loot Crate looks pretty cool, it's something that I want to subscribe to, you can use a discount code that was provided to me to save yourself a little bit of money, and I actually get a little bit of a cut too. 3 people actually did this. Of the different models, this is the Omni, which I believe is kind of the entry-level beanbag chair, and I want to say thanks to them because they sent me this chair for free in order to do this review today.
And that's before we even bring up the absolute debacle that was your Spawn Seat sponsorship that you lost within a day. So let's not sit here and act like taking sponsorships would be a new concept for you, DSP. You've done it before. Let's not sit here and lie about it.
You now become, when you shill products, okay, you now become beholden to those companies. You understand that, right? Like now, you have to watch what you say and do. You have to be sure that you don't accidentally do something that's considered risque, because now, oh no, you might lose a sponsorship if someone deems something you said irresponsible or, you know, not in line with their own beliefs or whatever. You can't be honest, you can't be genuine, and you can't be yourself.
Is DSP aware that you get to pick your own sponsorships and that you don't just have to accept every single sponsorship that comes your way when you do sponsorships? Is he aware that they tell you the things that you can and can't say about their product and that you can run things by them and check and make sure that it's okay that you say these things before taking the sponsorship? Is he aware of this? Because he makes it sound like they don't tell you anything and that you just have to put on an entire fake personality as to not offend whatever sponsorship you do wind up getting. I mean, maybe that would be the situation for him because he refuses to read contracts. He's made that very clear in the past, but that's typically not how people operate. So if you're actually concerned about it, I don't think that that's a situation that anybody's going to find themselves in.
Genuinely, people who do this stuff all the time usually are characters. And what I mean by that is they play a role or a character, because that way they can always say what they said and did was the character, not them, right?
Oh yeah, DSP, and you would know all about that, considering that for years you blamed everything that you ever said on the fact that you were playing a character and you were trying to be like Howard Stern. DSP's top 10 racist moments is because of Howard Stern, right? All of those anti-Semitic jokes that you were making were because of Howard Stern, right? It really does irk me that he constantly flips back and forth between he was never playing a character and he was always a character, and sometimes he is and sometimes he isn't even currently. It's all just nonsense and a way for him to easily deflect any sort of criticism that might actually come his way. And that was made no clearer than in the Side Scrollers interview where he did exactly that.
You can't be honest and real doing that kind of content because, God forbid, you say something that's not in line with the company. And now the company's pissed at you, right? Oh, they dropped me and now I lost money and stuff like that. Bullshit. When you're making content, the number one concern should be that that content is genuine, fun, real, entertaining, and has value for everyone involved. For you, the creator, for the person watching, for everyone there. Not, oh, I made the content to be in line with an advertiser who wanted me to act a certain way because I have a promotion for their product in said video, so God forbid that I accidentally act in a way that they don't agree with. Oh, by the way, as long as all of that's in line, that's fine. Oh, by the way, also then I do my content in that video. No. No. Sorry.
Okay, DSP, then what's your excuse for why your content is not fun or entertaining for either you or your viewers? And I mean that genuinely, because you very clearly do not enjoy streaming every single day when you get on stream. And your audience has made it very clear several times that they're not having fun or being entertained on a stream via low support, because that's the very metric that you use to determine how much fun and entertainment they're getting out of a stream. So what's your excuse, DSP, if you're not trying to curtail your content to fit some sort of sponsorship regimen? Why is it not fun and entertaining for everybody involved?
I'm not doing that. It's not. I would rather quit. I would rather quit making content entirely than sell out like that and become a fucking shill, a paid character who has to watch what he does. Oh, watch what I say and do. I can't be genuine with my audience, right? Because I have this sponsorship that I'm dealing with, right? It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. I just cannot stand it, you know?
Yes, instead DSP would rather not be able to be genuine because he's just a genuinely awful person all of the time. Because where another content creator might not speak negatively about a product that they have as a sponsor, DSP can't be genuine because the jokes that he actually finds funny are just so offensive and unfunny that he can't even say them on his own stream.
So that's the deal. And that's the thing, you know, with the hate element out there that I have. That if I were to get sponsorships, which I get offered all the time, no exaggeration, indie games are always looking for someone to play them, and they'll pay you for it. They feel that even getting a few hundred to a few thousand people watching their unknown game is worth it, and they'll pay you decent money for it. They'll offer you hundreds of dollars. They'll say, hey, if someone downloads the game, you'll get a referral bonus and stuff like that, right? All the time those are offered, right?
So now the truth comes out. And we all already knew this. The real reason that DSP doesn't take sponsorships is because he can't, or he feels like he can't take sponsorships. Because he's just so scared of the trolls. This is just another troll W. By not taking sponsorships because of the trolls, they're winning. Because you're actively not making money, or making less money than you could be. We all know that DSP makes plenty of money if he just quits spending it all on mobile games, DoorDash, and Total Wine.
So I do get these offers, and also products too. I get, and of course it's not products anyone's ever heard of, but I definitely get offered this product to put this product placement and stuff like that, right? But again, what would happen is I would get those sponsorships, right? And I would probably have them for a bit, and then what would happen is, as you know, trolls would then go and probably do the same hate campaigns that they did over 2 years ago against me. You know, remember they got me kicked out of the Twitch partner program for literally doing nothing. I didn't do anything on my stream to get me kicked out. They just deemed that things I'd done in the past weren't worthy of being in the partner program, despite the fact I'd been in the partner program for how many years. They suddenly changed their opinion overnight with no evidence of any wrongdoing and not saying I did anything wrong. You're just out of the partner program, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong, DSP definitely did a lot of things that were against Twitch TOS. But him being banned for hateful slurs when all he really did was fumble the word stationary didn't quite sit right with me, and still doesn't to this day. Because there's so many real offenses that they could have got him on, and instead he got blipped on something that was really nothing.
They kicked me out of Teespring. Teespring invited me to their business in 2017. They designed my original clothing line for me. I didn't even do it. They designed it and put the products up for me. They knew who I was. They were okay with all the stuff that I'd done in the past. And then 3-4 years later, oh, we just decided overnight that we don't want you on the site anymore. We're closing your shop and you're gone. It's like, huh? But that's how these companies are.
It's always been weird to me when DSP talks about how Teespring designed his original shirts, because this is supposed to be Mr. Genuine. This is supposed to be Mr. I care about my audience and my content, and I don't want any sort of influence from anything else, right? But he let an entirely unrelated company to him design the very shirts that were being sold to his audience? That just always struck me as strange. You would think that he would actually want some sort of say in the designs and not just let whoever from some random company essentially just design all of his designs for him. But just because they reached out to work with him doesn't mean that they were automatically okay in signing on to whatever he did in the past. There's a high likelihood that they didn't even know what he did in the past and that they just saw he was a decently sized content creator that they could probably profit off of. Because it's probably not too common that they run into a DSP style situation when they reach out to content creators to work with them.
So why on earth, right, would I go out of my way, change my content in a way that I don't want it to change, that I would become a paid shill, and I'd have to be so careful, about what I say and do in my content that I don't upset someone, to be dropped from a sponsor, just so that my trolls would go ahead and hate watch all my content, nitpick things I say and do, create these unfair montages that aren't representative of who I am as a person, and or use things from 10 plus years ago that I don't do anymore and act like that's who I am today to try to get me kicked out of those sponsorships. You would be opening the biggest can of worms, right? Doing something like, it's just not worth it. Not only would I have to change everything that I do for these promos, these products, all this stuff, but then there's just potential for so much harassment and things. It's just, I'm better off being completely independent.
Allow me to translate that from pig to English for you. DSP is essentially saying that instead of actually trying to make money via sponsorships or any sort of ads whatsoever, he's just better off begging, obviously. Because we all know when it comes to DSP, it's about the maximum profits to the minimum amount of work that he can do. And it goes without saying that begging is the least amount of work that somebody can go through to actually receive money.
I really am. Someone like me, in the situation I'm in, with the amount of harassment I get, that's the best option, is to stay indie and just to be my own man and to do my own thing and to keep that crap out of my content, be true to my audience, and then my audience will reciprocate and support the content, right? In fact, being honest here, I feel like if I were to change, like if I were forced into a situation where I have to take these offers, right? And I start taking them, I guarantee you there would be people who would turn on me and be like, so you were always against that, but now you're doing it. I'm like, well, it's a necessary evil, right?
Yes, DSP, but just like always, that's a problem that you created. If you weren't so vehemently against reading ads and doing sponsorships, no one would care if you did them. The problem is now that you are so on the side of it's absolutely unacceptable, no one should do it, it ruins the content, that if you were to switch teams, if you were to do your own sponsorships and do ad reads during your content, you would be going back on everything that you've been saying for actual years now. All of the fake moral high ground that you've been standing on so that you could look down on other content creators and act like you're better than them would be completely moot. But it didn't have to be this way. You didn't have to speak on it as strongly as you did. All you had to say was that it wasn't really for you and your style of content, but maybe in the future, and then just move on. But because you used it so frequently to shit on other people, of course you can't do it now. You can never take back the things you said at this point. You're in too deep. And if you did, you'd be switching up. And I have no respect for a switch up.
Well, forget it, right? And they're not going to watch, and they're not going to support, because that's what I mean. Like, they've been around for a while. They see what I stand for. And honestly, I'm one of the people that have been a holdout. You know what I mean? Like, again, all my contemporaries on YouTube, if you haven't seen it, they've all started doing this. This is just a common thing. Because remember, years ago, people said stuff to me like, you know, don't ever do that stuff. It's terrible. Now everyone does it, and it's like it's commonly accepted. It's just common that you go on a YouTuber's channel or on a stream, and there's all these product placements and offers and promotions and referral codes and all that. It's just common practice now, right? Didn't used to be. Really, it was the opposite. It was the rare thing when someone would do that. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, well, everyone just does it. This is how people make their money. They take the bag and they run with it.
But of course it sounds negative when you say it like that. Oh, they just take the bag and they run with it. But what they've actually done is removed the financial burden from their audience actually having to support them personally, and instead move that financial burden to a multi-million-dollar company that can absolutely afford to take the loss. What they've decided to do, rather than begging throughout an entire piece of content, making it that much worse, they've instead decided to combine the entire begment into what is 30 seconds of an ad read so that it can just be gone and done with before anybody really notices it was even there. Some of them can even be really creative in the way that they read their ads and they do their sponsors, and they can incorporate it into the content itself and make it an enjoyable piece. You can't make your begments entertaining, DSP. I mean, they're entertaining, but of course in the way that we find you entertaining and not the way you want to be entertaining. And like I said before, if an ad read or a sponsor segment really bothers you that much, you can go out of your way and go get sponsor block add-on for your search engine of choice, and you don't have that problem anymore. But you can't do that for something like DSP's content. You can't install some sort of beg block because it would skip the entire goddamn stream.
So that's fine. It's accepted. Well, what happened? So I didn't change. I'm the holdout. They all changed, but that's okay because it's them. But if I had done it, again, because I'm held to an unfair standard being a lol cow on the internet. So if I changed to do the same thing everyone else did, I'm the hypocrite. I'm the one who's, it's not fair. You know, how dare you? And everyone turn on me. And then you would see all the, I guarantee you'd see all these video montages. DSP, the complete hypocrite. Here's the history of how all the years he said he didn't want to do it. And now he's doing it, right? So
you understand the problem. The problem is that you were so adamantly against it for years and years that going back now makes you a hypocrite. But if you just took a softer stance in the past, you wouldn't be in this situation. You didn't have to address it the way that you did. It was entirely your choice to speak so vehemently against ads and sponsorships. Nobody forced you to do that. Nobody forced you to say those things. Nobody told you that you had to. So to quote DSP, you made your bed, now live in it.
So right now people say, so you talk too much about crowdfunding. Don't do it as much. Well, if I don't do it as much, then I don't make a living. Okay. Well, then don't do the crowdfunding. Instead, do the advertisements, the product placements, the shilling. Okay, I'll do that. So I'll add it. Oh, DSP, the hypocrite. Now he's shilling after all these years he said he wouldn't. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand that you've put yourself in a very precarious situation that you really can't win on now. Way to go, genius. So you can really just take one of two options. You can either just eat it, take sponsorships and ads, and then just deal with people calling you a hypocrite, or you can figure out how to improve the quality of your content enough that your audience actually supports without you having to beg for it. Either of those would be solutions that actually solve your problem. But instead, you're not actually going to pick a solution. You're just going to continue to do the same thing that you always do. You're going to continue to beg, you're going to continue to say that you're getting low support and that people are complaining and you don't know what to do, and nothing is ever going to get any better, and we're just going to keep going around in circles like we always do.
So I'm just going to be true to myself in reality. And this is the ultimate truth of the situation, is that in life, okay, there's only one person who is the authority on you, and there is only one person who you actually have to answer to, and that's you and yourself. That's it, right? Who gives a shit what anyone else outside says? There's so much white noise out there in life, in the world. People saying and doing, whispering behind your back and publicly saying nasty things. Who cares what people say?
If that's truly the philosophy you're going with, then you could just as easily say that you're going to start doing ad reads and sponsorships, and you'd probably be in a better financial situation than you currently are. It really could just go both ways.
Just be true to you. As long as you feel like what you're doing is the right thing to do, and you feel like you're doing something positive, right? And, you know, then that's fine.
No, DSP, but just going based off of that logic, you've now justified a whole lot of very heinous actions that people really should not be doing. Like, there's an entire war that happened from 1938 to 45 that I think you could justify if you viewed it from a certain lens, and that's kind of what you're justifying here. So I'm gonna have to hard disagree. Just because somebody finds something positive and they think that it's meaningful does not automatically make it okay. That doesn't automatically make everything that they do completely kosher.
And, you know, that's how you go through life. And that's my philosophy is my goal is to every day come here and make positive content for all of you. Make a living without hurting people, right? That's really the goal. I want to make a living without having to hurt others. I don't want to get ahead by stomping on people below me and pushing forward. I just want to be with all of you having a good time, enjoying games, chilling, having fun. That's what it's all about. You see?
See, but that's the thing. DSP does not see it as a negative that he's taking money from his fans when he doesn't have to. He doesn't think that it's a negative that he's taking money from the average person, from someone who probably is in a worse financial situation than even he is, because he makes 6 figures a year. Some of these dents are actually living off disability checks. But that's why he framed it specifically how he did, because if he doesn't personally see it as a negative, if he can justify it as meaningful and curated style content that people love, he's totally okay with doing whatever he has to do to get his paycheck. DSP would sell out his own mother if it meant just one more Hogan pull, and he wouldn't see anything wrong with that because it was very meaningful to him.
I could have done that years and years ago. I could have been one of these slam YouTubers, drama content creators. There was epic amounts of opportunity to do that. And I totally opted out of that. I said, nah, I'm just going to be true to myself. I'm going to play the games. I'm going to have fun. We're going to do this, right?
Yeah, he opted out of being a slam YouTuber / drama content creator. That's why he's involved in a new drama arc every single week. That's why we get hour-long drama rants about other content creators that he specifically name drops.
That's what I've always wanted. And maybe it's because of the way I was raised. As I'm getting older now, I'm starting to realize that even though I'm not a religious guy by any means, that having that upbringing, having this moral compass, right? I find myself going back to it more and more now that I'm older. When I was younger, I was rebellious. Oh, rage against everything, do whatever you want. But as I get older, I find myself going back to those tenets, those core tenets, those beliefs of, do unto others, right? As you would have them do unto you.
I can't stand when DSP pulls the religious card and acts like he has some sort of moral authority over other people because he was raised a certain way. It just comes across in the worst way possible. And it's peak irony that DSP would come on stream and say that he believes in treating other people as he would want to be treated. After all of the recent suggestion box segments where he's calling people stupid, idiotic, morons, absolute dunce level thinking, people just talking out of their ass, lame-brained, mouth-drooling, white coats need to come get you, mentally ill, seek a psychiatrist ass people. Because I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't want anybody to say those things about him. He'd probably go on an hour-long rant about that person.
Don't just hurt others. True success is not success by any means. It's success where you can be successful, but you don't have to hurt others to be successful, right? That's the kind of stuff that I abide by. And so, I follow all this stuff, and a lot of people give me shit for it. Well, why do you have these principles? Don't you understand they're hurting you or whatever? Well, you may say that, but here I am 15 years in, and I'm still here.
Yes, still here on level 1, still here in a house that's falling apart around you, still here trapped in a loveless marriage, still here not doing Jasper's blood work, hashtag justice for Jasper.
Right? And my content isn't full of shilling ads and crap, and I'm still able to get by. And yeah, there's some days that are slower days, and I mention it, and there's some days that are great days, and I don't mention it at all, right?
I'm gonna run that back one more time.
And yeah, there's some days that are slower days, and I mention it, and there's some days that are great days, and then I don't mention it at all, right?
Yeah, there are some days that are slower and he does mention it, and then there are other days that are great and he doesn't mention it at all. Is that supposed to be some sort of gotcha? Is that supposed to be him proving us wrong? Because that's what people are actually accusing him of and saying it isn't okay. Just because a stream is slow doesn't mean that you get to mention it. That's like the whole point.
So, what's the big deal? As long as we're all having a good time and enjoying the stuff I put out, then why does anyone give a crap and why is anyone criticizing, right? Because they want a reaction. They think that sitting there and misrepresenting and being gross and being toxic is going to get a reaction. It's not. I don't care. I will be here.
Yes, because this totally isn't a reaction, you guys.
I will be here on stream, streaming, every day that I choose to, until I choose to no longer stream. I will make videos for YouTube every day that I choose to, until I choose to no longer make videos for YouTube. Do you understand? I'm not going anywhere. I've been here for 15 years, and I will continue to be here for as long as I so choose. And then the day that I choose to retire, I will retire. Nothing anyone says, does, or anything is going to change that. They can't. They've tried. They failed. Nothing's going to change it. Okay?
No other content creator makes it sound like a threat when they tell people that they're going to continue making content. This is entirely unique to DSP as far as I know.
So, there you have it. That's my philosophy. So when you ask me all these questions about this stuff, there you are. And the funny part is then you get a troll, like for example, this person did a super chat and says, I'd rather watch an ad than be asked to donate. You just donated. You just donated. I didn't ask you to, you just did. So you just literally did the biggest hypocritical thing you possibly could have done, right? You're full of crap. And that's the truth. No, most people would rather willingly contribute to something they like than be forced to do something they don't want to do.
Bold assumption to just assume that that's a troll, though. That could genuinely be a fan who's telling you, hey, I'm gonna donate and let you know that I would rather be watching an ad. But of course, anybody that disagrees with DSP is automatically a troll and can't be a real fan. And yes, most people would rather contribute to something they like than be forced to do something that they don't want to do. But sometimes that contribution could be watching an ad or listening to someone do an ad read instead of experiencing a begment that they don't want to sit through. It's like every sentence that DSP tries to use to defend himself, you can immediately just flip right back around, and it doesn't make any sense when applied to what he's saying.
That's the truth. It's an active choice to be generous because you like something you were already given for free versus being forced to do something with against your will with absolutely no option to not do that. It's a big difference.
But the begments are something that you're forced to endure against your will. What point are you missing, DSP? How are you not seeing this?
Anyway, Engine and Tonic at TM did a $10, by the way, I guess we're not doing suggestion box because a lot of contributions started coming in and now we're just constantly shouting them out, so I guess that's that.
Don't worry, there was a suggestion segment the following day, and I will be taking a look at that, I promise.
Engine and Tonic TM did a 10 pound super chat and says the best thing is no matter how you respond to anything, they'll try and spin it to make it sound like they won, i.e. calling you mad or crying. No, of course, again, you have to understand, they see me. Do you understand lol cow culture? Like, it's pretty disgusting.
I'm pretty sure that I understand lol cow culture, but DSP, why don't you explain to me what you think it is? Because I'm fairly certain that you don't understand it at all.
It's like, so what we want to do, we're going to constantly talk about someone over and over and over, all right, to try to get a rise or something out of them. And the absolute moment that they respond, we won. It doesn't even matter how they responded, we won, because all we're looking for is a response. That's it. The moment that they respond to it, we got their attention. We got them to say something, right? So they see that as a victory. It doesn't matter what you say or do. To them, they've already won. And of course, what they're going to do is they're going to constantly keep spinning it in a negative way to kind of keep getting you to bring it up, right?
I mean, that's kind of part of it. I guess I'm a little proud of DSP for understanding at least an aspect of it. But to me, DSP, you're still a lol cow, even if trolls didn't get a response, even if you didn't react to everything that everyone else was saying about you online. Because for as long as you've been on the internet, you've refused to learn and grow as a person, and you continue to make the same mistakes again and again and again, making a bigger ass out of yourself every single time. Nobody has to poke and prod you to get the kind of content that we like to see and make fun of. You're more than capable of doing it by yourself, and you constantly put yourself into situations to make sure that you can give the trolls and detractors content. Sometimes I'm even worried that you're playing some sort of 9D chess and this was all some part of your master plan. I'm fairly certain that's not the case, but just sometimes I wonder if you do these things on purpose. So again, big ups for DSP for understanding an aspect of being a lol cow but not actually grasping the full concept. Way to go.
So I've already said this before, like today, I could right now go outside and walking down the street, I could stop a robbery. Like an old woman could be getting held up, and I could run up and punch the dude right in the face and knock him the fuck out and throw him down the street. Save the woman, right? Then I could turn around and a car accident happens, and I pull a person out of the car that's on fire, and I save their life, all right? And then all of a sudden, the earth opens up, right? And people are about to fall down this big pit in the ground, and I start pulling people away from the edge. Oh, get back, everyone. Get to safety, right? And then aliens could come down out of the fucking sky, open their doors like, we are invading. And I could run up and say, fuck you, and kick the alien right in his alien genitals and throw him back into the spaceship, infecting him with some kind of deadly disease. All right? And then they all die, and I save the entire planet from this situation. I save everyone. All right? And what would happen? Those people who don't like me would literally go on their stream and be like, were you aware that when Phil was doing that, a napkin fell out of his pocket and he littered?
What a grossly exaggerated example for him to give. And the cherry on top was it not even being funny and instead just being a huge waste of time. Sick.
And all they would do in the entire video is talk about how Darkside Phil litters. That's it. They would ignore everything else that happened that day. None of that matters. That's how those people are. You know what I mean?
See, and I'm going to play semantics here, DSP. I don't think you're specifically talking about me, so I'm going to ignore all of your criticism. I try to be more than fair to you. I try to give you props for every situation that I think you deserve it in. The problem is that you don't give me a lot of instances in which I can do that. For some reason, you have to be as insufferable as you can possibly be on a day-to-day basis, and I'm just not going to give you any big ups for that. If you really did go out of your way to try and save some sort of people or do some sort of good for the community around you and the world as a whole, yeah, I would absolutely give you props for that. If you did a charity stream, I would absolutely. Big ups DSP for doing a charity stream. The problem is you refuse to do anything that's actually worth the shit that would benefit anybody but yourself.
So, to me, I don't give two rats' asses or craps about any of that stuff. I don't want anything to do with any of it. You know, I stay away from it. And, you know, Let them say what they want to say. Let them do what they want to do. That's how they handle it. And again, that's why you notice I'm not specifically addressing anything anyone says or does about me. It's just generalities. I have no idea what they say. I pay no attention. You got people literally right now. Some people say, oh, they're talking about you on a show. I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't want to know what they say because it will always continue. All they want is my attention, and they will not get it. I'm here on my normal day of work. I will continue to do my normal day of work away from all of their nonsense. Okay. Sambuca did a super chat. He says, what brand are those stretchy gray lounge pants?
Sambuca coming in with the real question. What brand are those stretchy gray lounge pants you be sitting in, DSP? I'm trying to find out. But that's going to do it for today's video. Again, big ups Duty Streams for the clip in this one. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you, thank you. And obviously, a big ups to everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hopefully, I'll catch all of you guys in the next video. But until then, make sure that you check out other Detractor channels and dive deeper into that Snortex.